Well, it is time again for a Tasty Tuesday. It's been a bit too long, really. Thanks so much to Eric for manning the fort last week. And I was on vacation, long overdue with the family for a week. So I was unable to have the whiskey fun, but thankfully it's back in full force. And I'm looking forward big time to sitting down with a couple what I consider classics, even though they're not that old. Um, when I came to my started my whiskey journey, as far as Scotch around 2015 ish, 2016 somewhere in there, and it was about the time when this was just kind of ramping down. The dark and the light was like the at the big focal point, I think, in 2017, if I remember correctly. This was more of a before that. This the Fire 15-year edition from Highland Park, and the Ice, which is a 17-year edition. The 15 Fire is well, both of them are really different whiskeys that you don't normally see. Yes, you see 15 and 17, 18-year-old whiskeys from a lot of different distilleries, but these are very particular with the way that the casks are done and the way it's been produced. So that's why they're a little outside the box, I'd say. Uh, Good to see you there, Paul. It's going pretty well. I missed you guys. Good to see you there, Silver Lock, as well. Yeah, I know Eric. Just wrapped up the happy hour, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Aloha, gang, from Hawaii. Yep. Oh my goodness, good to see you, Chris. The dumbest boxes, but let's find out how fun they are. The dumbest boxes. I guess you're talking about these crazy contraptions that they put these in. It did come in a regular box. I will say that this monstrosity does come in an actual box, so it's kind of funny how that goes. But I guess they figure if they're gonna, I mean, these when these were initially released, we're talking like $300 a piece, so they were very pricey for. I mean, if you're just coming into it not knowing how the casks were done and more of the history behind the makeup of it, you look at it, oh, 17, 15-year-old whiskey, what's so special about that? So I mean, I understand why sometimes these guys will take the time to put it in better packaging to make you feel like, I guess, it's more worth it. But to me, it is all about what's inside the juice. And when I do these reviews that we do on a weekly basis, I don't score it off marketing or marketability or packaging. So that doesn't really compute in my whiskey score. But with that said, I do appreciate them doing something a little bit, I guess, outside the box for this. But yeah, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, what I would rather definitely see them put the money for making a better crafted whiskey, if that's possible. We'll get into the weeds here on these in a little bit. Oh my goodness, you guys are funny. I paid 120 each for mine. Yeah, that's a hell of a value, I must say, man. That is yeah. that's that's very well priced, because that's basically half of what it's going for now. They did cut it majorly. On one hand, you can see it around 225 right now. Um versus the 300, but 120, yeah, I would definitely look at it all day long if that was the case. You should plan a Highland Park dark and light show. We actually already did, Andrew. I think you missed it. That was what was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago? I want to say. Yeah, we did do a dark and light show not too long ago. So it's definitely still on the site on on my page. So do a search for a Telex Highland Park Dark or Light or whatever, and it should come up. Let me know if for some reason it doesn't, because it definitely should already be out there. Because I know Eric and I both did it together. uh, for the Dark and Light. Pretty sure we already did that show. I'm 99.9% sure. Sometimes it's all a blur, but I'm not that bad off. Oh my goodness. I did send the invite, so he should be joining us here momentarily. With that said, what do you guys have you guys had it before? And what are some of your thoughts? They're not going to affect my feeling on it one way or another because I've had samples outside of this. I bought my own bottles after the fact, so I've already well made up my mind how I feel about both of these. Eric's not here, so I don't think it's really going to affect him what you guys thought. But I'm just kind of curious of some of the thoughts out there. And if you haven't ever tried it, hopefully after we both have gone through everything, it'll give you kind of an idea of what it might be worth. As far as is it worth taking that risk gamble to, give it a try? You never know. Sorry for the shakiness in the camera. I just had to replug in a little bit of things and mess with the light and all that stuff. But I think we're doing all right. Speaking of all right, I'm just all right,
Felix!
Mr. Malt.
Felix! What's going on?
I'm excited about finally getting to dive into these bottles I've had sitting around for a while, and I drank them down really fast halfway down, and then I thought, I better pace myself. We've got to do a show on this at some point.
Dude, how are you, man? How was the family vacation last week?
Pretty good. Got out to Virginia Beach to hang out for a
while.
Nice,
man. Nice.
Yeah, I had a couple good, really nice restaurants just by, you walk around and you're like, oh, this looks kind of good. And it turns out to be like spectacular. That kind of happened a couple of times. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you been up to?
Not much, man. Keeping it grimy, keeping it real here in Chicago. Last week, so this is a good show to do this week because last week I don't know if you've had this one before. I opened the Highland Park Dark Origins. You had that one before?
I have, but it has been a long, long time. That came out around when I was starting to really heavily get into Scotch, pretty much.
Man, I was impressed, my friend. I'm into it. I'm into it was one of the best Highland Parks I've had probably since the 21. I mean, if not ever, dare I say? It was really good. I want to get more of them.
Did yours? I mean, I've had it a couple times, luckily, and one time I remember it being one of my favorites, like you were saying. Another time I remember there being some like really, and maybe it's just because I wasn't used to the heavily amounts of sherry that's involved with it, but it seemed like there was a lot of sulfuric tone going on with it.
I did not get the sulfur. Yeah, I actually was surprised at how little of that I got. That was interesting. I really actually, what I was blown away by was how palatable it was. Like, it wasn't very astringent. I think the ABV that they used in it, which was like just over 46%, I think, might have done it justice. But I loved it. Maybe I got to go back and have another sample or two, which I will, because that bottle's not going to last long.
Did you just pop it recently?
Yeah, I uncorked it on the show last week.
I'm very interested in how this goes because I think for me, it was one of those types of bottles that did not do well quickly after like the first month or so. It was great, and I think after a few months, it started to lose its appeal to me, maybe. So I'm curious to see if you have I'm not sure how fast you'll go through it, but if it does sit around for a few months,
yeah,
then I'm kind of curious to see if you still are into it as much as you were when you initially opened it, just as a curiosity.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I'm looking.
It sounds like probably one of those bottles you go through pretty quickly.
I mean, other than the fact that on the bottle they literally have a silhouette of what looks like Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. Like, other than that, I was like impressed with it. Like, it clearly looks like the Unabomber on there. I'm not convinced that's what they were going for, but I was like, A, that graphic sucks. B, it looks like the Unabomber. It's good to say. So I was a little thrown off by that, but otherwise it was good, man.
I think it was their previous marketing people, because this. Yeah. The new guys seem like at least are consistent.
It would be called Viking terrorism or something like that,
Oh gosh.
they'd have some like ornate, thing on it or whatever. But anyways, well, I'm glad you're back, man. I'm excited to get into these Highland Parks.
Oh yes.
Have you got anything new since the last time we talked?
That stretching out for that Othrosk, that Othrosk 25 I picked up, man. That was a bit of a stretch during all the vacation time was kind of pricey, so I kind of had to keep it to that. That was about it was under 400, but it was a definitely a pricey bottle. But I'm eager to we got to talk shop later on and do some more swaps. But
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what you think. It's a very different. It's more of a floral herbal type of situation. It's not like anything else I've ever had. So I'm eager to see what you think about it.
Looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. I have not got a lot new since the last time we talked. I got a Knockando 12.
Ooh, okay.
Which should be interesting. And then this one. Now, from a distance, you recognize this box, don't you?
That's interesting because it's a night. I noticed it looks like the 18, but it's a 19 year.
It's a 19-year Glenmorangie.
Where in the hell did you find that?
So instead of it being, they say it's like the extremely rare, which is the tagline for the 18. This one is the finest reserve. Exactly the same maturation. No actual difference on that front. This is bottled at 43%. Yes, it is all ex-bourbon, 19-year-old. It's a travel retail bottle.
Oh, I was going to say there's got to be a catcher somewhere.
Yeah, they do a 19-year-old travel retail bottle.
That's
I don't know, man.
I definitely want to take you up on trying that one together if you don't mind.
Oh, for sure.
I will.
I'm a sucker for a Glenmorangie, so there was no way I wasn't going to grab this one. I saw it at a pretty nice price, but yeah, it's a travel retail. It's 43%. And yeah, I mean, it's there you go.
I know you said the Knockando was the other one that you got, the 12. I've been having my eye on a 21. I did see Roy Aquavite do a review on it, and he wasn't too enthused, so it made me kind of think, well, that's an awful lot of money to spend on a 21-year-old if it's not great. But it is they do have an 18, but the problem with Knockandoos is their ABVs tend to stick around 40 to 43. You don't really see a big bump in the ABV. So I might just have to bite the bullet to get us to 21. So I might have to bite the bullet for both of us on that and try to get to 21.
So this is that 12. It is 43%. Yeah,
I will say off of experience, a good sign is I did have they have a 15-year-old, and that was when I was doing my travels through all the Scottish distilleries, trying a little bit of everything. We had the 15, and it was actually really good. I thought it was well done. So if the 18 and 21 and the 12 don't do it, at least we know the 15 will be maybe worthy of a purchase at some point down the road. But I might have to bite the bullet and get the 21 because I'm just kind of curious to see if he just was put off by certain notes, like if it was like more cereal grainy and he just didn't like it, that for that reason. So I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, very possible, man. Very possible. All right. So what do we do? Which one are we doing first, the fire or the ice?
I would definitely suggest we do the fire first because the ABV is a lot different. The fire is going to be 45.2, and the ice is going to be 53.9. So it's a bit, a little, not like crazy hot, but it's going to be a little more hot on on that one. So I would say it probably would make sense to do the fire. Now the fire is a port seasoned. It's a 100% refilled port seasoned cask on that one.
It's a full port maturation.
Then the ice is all ex-bourbon, so that is a kind of a twist.
I don't think I've ever had a port Highland Park. But Telex, before we go any further, you are going to show everybody what the fire looks like, right? The bottle of the fire.
Oh yeah, that's
Hold it up for all of us to see because I got to see this bottle.
At first you were getting garbly, but it's gotten better. I think it's better now.
Okay.
1 second. Let me pop this in here. This is the. We'll start with the fire bottle here.
Oh my God.
It's pretty crazy. It's like I mean, I don't know what it's made of. If you would think it's wood, but it's probably some veneer or something or other. But it's like a black painted wood deal, and it's got this hinge that you pop it up. It actually took me a while to figure out how this thing worked, but it's got a hinge that you just pop it out
Oh
like
my
this,
God. It's like got a Jesus. This
and they
is the
come out like
most
this.
Highland Park I've ever seen.
It's pretty crazy. The the amount of work they put in some of their marketing packaging stuff, but I mean, the MSRP on this was 300 on each. Now you can find it for around 225 if you're lucky.
Oh
Uh,
wow. So
I
it's
know Dustin was saying he got his for 120 somehow. He must know a guy who knows a guy.
interesting.
But I don't know how he must have found it on freaking clearance or something. Let me put you back in the stream here 1 second. There
Sure.
we go. Pop.
Okay, so it's fully X.
The fire is going to be 100% refill port seasoned casks.
So they're like a third fill seasoned port. Or no,
100%
refill.
refill.
Yeah, refill is second or third. So refill is third. So yeah, okay.
100%
So third.
refill port seasoned cask. Now I know it's kind of wonky the way it's described, but I think this is not going to be like any other whiskey I think you've had. Maybe there's the only one I can ever compare this to is the Longmorn 16. Have you had that one before?
Yeah.
Okay, if I think it reminded me of that a bit because of some of the profile, but I'll be interested to see if you're following along with that one. But
All right. And what was the ABV one more time?
this is 45.2, 15-year age statement, and yeah, it's got a pretty nice looking color. Let me just double check something before I say, because you know how some of these guys are on the
Yeah.
color and all that. So let me do one quick thing, hopefully, and check something. And you've had neither one of these before, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, when I saw it was for sale, I was kind of like thinking that's surprising because usually these whiskeys, when they go on the market, you see them pop up for, let's say it starts out at the $200 price. After a year, it sells out. Then it goes up to 100 more or even 200 more.
Right.
Secondary market. This is one of those they must have made a lot more than they let on, and it must have sold on shelves for a while because you actually see it for less than it initially was, which is really surprising. On color, this is no coloring, so that's the good sign.
Yeah. Highland Park's usually pretty consistent with the non-color, which was interesting actually. So when I did the tasting of the Dark Origins, it doesn't say that it's natural color, but it says that it's non-chill filtered, and I think it's really the only non-chill filtered Highland Park I've ever had, other than that cast strength.
Oh, I found out what the issue is. This was, how they call it limited edition, but there's 28,000 bottles. So there were 28,000 of these, initially put on the market. And at $300 a piece, I could see why they wouldn't sell 28,000 of them right away. It's funny how that works. I'm
And what
trying to
do you remember what year this came out?
I want to say, let me see if I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it came out before I got into the thing. So I'm thinking it might have been, 2016. The ice was March of 2016, and the fire was November of 2016. So it looks like if November so the March 2016, ice came out first in March of 2016, and then the fire came out in November that same year. Interesting. Okay. So it's right when I was pretty much getting into the whole whiskey thing, but there's no way at the time I would have spent $300 on a bottle. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well,
that's the tell of the tape. So you
the tail of the tape, and I got a nice healthy dram here, courtesy of Telex the Whiskey Tech of Highland Park Fire. 15 years old, you say?
15, yeah, and Seems like it's well crafted. So I'm eager to see what you think of the cask, because that's really what the main
I'll
thing
tell
is.
you right away. It is cherry and cinnamon. A lot of cherry, and I. How do I want to put it? Like not maraschino, but like I don't know, like Bing cherries, you know?
Yeah, like a deep, like maybe not as deep as black cherry, but yeah, between
Right,
the
right,
black and the.
right.
But you're right. Cinnamon was the first thing I got off too.
Yeah, but it's like it's that candied cinnamon, like that cinnamon red hot candy or whatever.
Like big red chewing gum.
Yeah, big red chewing gum. Totally. I don't think I've ever had it more intense than I have it on this. So going in a little deeper. So yeah, predominantly what I'm getting here is sweet spice, like fruit sweetness and spice. But you go deeper, and there's the Highland Park. There's the honey toffee notes. A little bit in the back. There's some pear. There's some interesting.
Do you get this like? I don't want to.
There's like a
muskiness.
There's a mustiness for sure, yeah. And I was kind of going to be heading in that direction. I think of the cinnamon. It's like a dusty cinnamon. You know, like you not cinnamon sugar, but like ground cinnamon, and you've dusted off your peach cobbler with it, or your pear cobbler. I don't know.
To me, this like comes back and forth between like the sweet cinnamon and the like the stick cinnamon. It's
the cinnamon note on this is huge.
Changing.
It's honestly one of the most strikingly cinnamon whiskeys I think I've smelled. And yes, Fireball's not included in that. The sad part is that I think somebody who likes Fireball would like this for all the wrong reasons.
They just smell it all day.
There's also a little bit of like a, and this you might think I'm crazy on this, but like there's like a tropical fruit, like papaya, like kind of a rich mango, like some type of rich melony type fruit, which is poking through this to me. And
yeah, it's weird, like red grapes, but like
yeah,
also like
I'm more. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm more on the like you just cut open a cantaloupe.
Oh, okay.
That's more the direction that I'm getting on this, but
it's got some. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely. I'm not getting the tropical hints as much, but I'm getting like a mint. But it's very, very slight. I'm trying to think of what that is. Like a.
I don't know.
Ethanol, but not alcohol heavy. But
man. I don't know if I get the mint, but you and I are picking up some different things on this, which is fun.
You getting any strawberries, like light?
Oh yeah. The strawberry for sure. The cherry, strawberry, and cinnamon. We are very aligned on that.
Huh.
Yeah, there's like a.
There's an earthiness to it too. I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like a floral. I don't get much earthiness. I get more of a floral. Like there's like a rose petal, rose water smell to it.
I got you there, though. No, that is there.
This is where the tropical fruit thing is. You know what I'm saying? Like in general, what I'm saying is like there's this rounded sweetness to it. There's this like kind of effervescent, rounded sweetness that kind of is working around it. This is interesting. I'm very eager to taste this now.
Yeah,
you and I are kind of all over the board here, which is fun.
But like cherries and cinnamon were definitely we're both
in
agreement on those
being
the heavy thing.
Yeah,
some of the other nuances were it is interesting. I think it's what makes this a decent whiskey, because it definitely changes and it evolves.
God, grape soda. Like a can of crushed grape soda or Welch's grape soda, like that level, or like you just opened a little package of grape jam. There's a grape that's like a rich purple grape jam, not like the actual grape, but like that over sweetened
That
stuff.
port's finally showing up, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's have a sippy,
Let's
man.
do it. Sponsor, man. Happy Tasty Tuesday. Here we go. Highland Park Fire. I need another sip of this one.
It's very different.
Okay, one sec. Let me try another sip here. Well, that is interesting. That's different. So it arrives. What you expect from the nose is not what you get on the arrival. You get a yellow apple vanilla kind of medium, kind of flat arrival, and then there's
let it simmer a little bit. This one to me arrives extremely savory. It's got lots of savory notes that I got off the Longmorn 16 because I didn't know this is definitely not it's sweet on the nose, but it's definitely not sweet at all.
You're very right on the savory, but it happens for me more like midway through. So I get hit with this spice note. Again, dry spice. It's the cinnamon. It's kind of like a Chinese 5-spice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mouth-watering, like Mortlock savory. Your point about Longmorn, I can't emphasize enough how right you are about Longmorn 16 on this. Like, that is absolutely right. It's that like very zesty cinnamon, but also like the mouth-watering thing, big time. And that's what kind of rides out the second half of this. But for the arrival, for me, it was kind of interesting. It was much more like vanilla, bourbony, and kind of flat. But then it was like, and a bunch of these other flavors showed up. Yeah, I mean, Mortlock, it also comes to mind. Big time on the Mortlock. This is the most unique Highland Park I've ever had.
Yeah, the only thing if it's funny, like the first couple sips, it does have this. I'm not sure if I call it bitter, but it's slightly astringent, like underbelly to the savory factor. But thankfully, I think in time, after a couple sips, it starts to like build on itself somehow, where it makes more sense. But if you're not in the mood for something very savory and a little funky spicy, it's definitely not going to tickle the ivories.
yeah, definitely. I mean, this is interesting.
Might have to see what water does.
I'm actually really kind of thrown for a loop here. This is an interesting. I can't believe this is a Highland Park. I mean, it has that toffee honey thing, which is kind of carrying through, but
yeah,
man,
definitely not your typical.
No, it's drier. It's just drier than a normal Highland Park.
I'm thinking that this was port, so I'm definitely picking up a very heavily like tawny deal in this one. There's definitely no rubiness going on, I don't think.
No, I kind of agree with you on that. What's up?
That's why I usually gravitate towards the ruby ones. I like a little more sweetness typically, but there are times when I'm in the mood for more savory, spicy bomb type of whiskey like this. You just definitely have to be in the mood for it, I think.
Yeah, this is interesting. Telex, you and I were getting different things on the nose. The initial arrival of this is very bourbon cask forward for me, but then all the other stuff comes, the savory, the dry, the cinnamon spice. Like It's a potent cinnamon hit of spice on that.
Put a couple drops on and see what you think, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it. What do you think, Winston? You want to do a little water? He's been bugging me for the last 20 minutes, so apologies.
Uh-oh.
You got to baby this little guy.
Hopefully he's not sick.
It's Winston the Whiskey Cat. Winston the Whiskey Cat.
Hopefully he's not sick or anything.
No, he's starving for attention. I wasn't home last night, so
gotcha.
He's a needy little guy. All right.
There we go. Couple drops.
Water.
Thankfully, this is 45 point, whatever, 45.3, I think it was. Yeah, 45.2. Thankfully, it's that, so it should be able to handle a drop or two of water just to see if there's anything.
Yeah.
The mouth coat's pretty nice. It's a medium mouth coat, I'd say. It's not overly heavy, but it's not too thin either. It's kind of in the middle.
What do you think? He seems to always want to smell my whiskeys, but then every time he does, he's not interested in them at all. There we go. And no. Highland Park Fire is a no-go for the Whiskey Cat. For a Whiskey Cat, you should actually like whiskey, you bastard.
I think it's got brought out the bourbon notes on the nose after the water.
Smell of bourbon in this, yeah.
Huh. Still got the spice going on, thankfully. I wonder how hot it's going to be on the palate. That's my worry, because sometimes when you hit a spicy whiskey with water, sometimes it even makes it more spicy. So it'll be interesting to see how it reacts with the water.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot different. It's a lot different with the water to me. Yeah.
It's still got that oak, that tart oak, the dryingness, but I feel like it's savory, spicy, and then a bit sweet, but it's not a fruit sweetness anymore. It really is like, there's the sweetness, but it's like a vague sweetness. I don't even really know what the.
I'm getting a lot of white and black pepper together on the finish on this one too.
All right, Winston, make your mind up, buddy.
It's got a brininess going on without. It doesn't have any maritime feel to it to me, but it's definitely got a briny factor going on too.
Interesting.
I don't get seashells or anything like that, but I get this real spicy white pepper, hot, salty note at the end.
Boy, this is an interesting whiskey Telex. For Highland Park.
Yeah, it's very different. And like I said, the only one I could ever think of that reminds me of this, and I think, but you brought up a good point on Mortlock. I forgot about them, but the Longmorn 16 to me is a lot like this one.
You're 100% right. The Longmorn 16 is deadly accurate, man. If you were a sniper, you would have hit me right in the forehead with that shot, because you're totally right. It has that zesty cinnamon thing that otherwise you don't like. That's one of the things I distinctly remember from Longmorn 16.
Do you get this teriyaki kind of note at the end of it? It's like this weird. Oh, if for some reason it reminds me of like some sort of an Asian soy sauce type of vibe.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. A little bit.
It's very bizarre, but I mean, it's funny. It's very complex for what a 15-year-old whiskey. It's got a ton of notes, but is it really what you're looking for? Is really the tough thing for me in this whiskey.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm eager to see what you think, because the price difference between this and the Longmorn 16 is pretty big. So if we're in agreement on the Longmorn 16 being pretty comparable, people could save a lot of money probably going toward that type of taste if they want it.
I think you're right. I think that there's a lot different here though than the Longmorn 16. The Longmorn 16 is much more bourbon cask. Like this gets weird. This honestly, the
port does throw it off a bit in a way, doesn't it?
Whiskey. I like it. I'm trying to think about Like when do you go for this? Like when do you reach? How much of this have you drank, Telex? Just out of curiosity.
Before I bought this bottle, I had a sample from somebody, from Mr. Lee. If any long term fans will remember Mr. Aquaman, he
Yeah, yeah.
he got me the sample of it when we were meeting up and trading, and I liked it enough to think, well, if I ever saw it for lower, than 300, I might pick it up. And when I saw it for 225, I thought, you know what, I wouldn't mind having my own bottles of those just to see. So I went ahead and snagged it. And I drank halfway through this one, and but it's very much a specific taste because it's so different than any other whiskey I've had from many distilleries. To be honest with you, I can't think of anything else to compare it to besides the Longmorn 16 because they're the most spicy. I mean, the Billia Dram from Tamdu is got this level of spiciness, but it has the sweetness to balance it. And that's what makes the Tamdu Billia Dram such one of my favorites overall when it comes to the spice bombs. But
So there's one other whiskey that this is striking with me. Compass Box Spice Tree. So not the extravaganza, the regular Spice Tree.
I never had the regular one, so I can't speak to that one.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: Do you notice anything about this that makes you think it's a Highland Park?
One thing that does stick out for Highland Parks across the board, thankfully, and the only way I could detect this being a Highland Park whiskey, is it does have the embedded heathery note that you always get from a Highland Park. It's like this heathery peat note. This is a slightly peated dram. If you add, I should have came up front with that. This does have a little bit of peat. It's probably, I would suggest, 5 to 7 ppm. So it's not heavy, but it's enough to be noticeable. And I think it's where we get some of these savory, weird off the wall notes combined with the port cast that they chose for it. It is. I mean, it gets you talking. It's a complex whiskey, but it is extremely savory / bitter, sort of. But it's complex. But is it balanced? It's really it's a tough whiskey to really take a look at.
No,
So
I like it.
I thought
I like
we were both on the path to where we could probably take a look at it subjectively and think, okay, is this really good, or is it bad, or is it subjective? On this one, this was a tough one.
I think you've framed this really well, and I'd love to hear in the chat if anybody else has had the Highland Park Fire. Like, what do you think? Are we way off base? Are we hitting the nail on the head here? Telex and I have got some radically different notes out of this, but we've also had some very similar ones. Now, the question I asked you about whether or not you get any actual like Highland Park flavor, the classic Highland Park notes from this, and what I mean by that for folks who maybe not had a lot of Highland Park is a very kind of, it's sweet. It's usually like a bourbon and fruit sherry mix, but then you also get what's called peat. It's peat, but it's decayed heather. Heather is a very kind of sweet floral, as opposed to like a Lafroig or an Ardbeg, which is like much more of a kind of deep earthy peat. And you get wisps of like a sweet smoke, and they also don't do it at the same level. So it's a little bit in the background. You also get a lot of honey notes. Now, I do get it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the weird thing is I'm in agreement with you to a point. I guess to me, the only difference I would throw in with what I consider a Highland Park trademark taste is not just the heather and the things that you mentioned, but to me, it's also that matchstick kind of note that you get off the 12 even. This, to me, does have that matchstick, slightly burnt kind of feel to even the palate has got it to me, but it's different, I think, because of the port and the dryness that you talked about and the spice factor. It's very different when it comes to, there's never a spicier Highland Park that I can think of.
the matchstick thing, and I know this is something that you've brought up a lot. I don't get it as much, and it might be because I'm not associating it correctly. I think I know what you mean, but I don't know if it shows up on my palate as prominently. But nonetheless, there is a slightly sulfuric note, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's got that teriyaki kind of sauce, weird soy sauce feel.
Yeah.
It's a little funky, but it's not it's not like sulfuric like the Deanston 20 Oloroso deal. That was very sulfuric to me. This one has got like a tinge maybe of the sulfur, but it's not it's not as big as like a Glenfarclas kind of sulfuric deal to me.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, so we're all over the board on this. I mean, this is an interesting one, Telex. Thank you for the sample. I don't know. Okay.
I feel a 1.0 coming.
I'm gonna have to go with another. I mean, look how much I've drank of this. I've drank almost the entire sample, and I'm still just sitting here like, I don't know where the fuck to go with this. I need a little bit more time.
It's a challenging one, I think. That's what makes I think some of this really fun. I'm glad that Mr. Lee was gracious enough to provide a sample in the Llama way, because without it, I would have never even thought of taking a gamble on this one. And it wasn't. It's funny because this is definitely not in my wheelhouse. I didn't buy it because
Can you hold that thing up to the camera once again?
I didn't buy this because this is my wheelhouse as far as
It looks like it would be on top of my He-Man thing that I had in the 80s. Yeah.
I had a Snake Mountain, dude.
Yeah, dude, Castle of Grayskull or some shit.
I mean, I got it because of the fact that even though it wasn't my wheelhouse, because I like sweet whiskey and I like peated whiskey, not all together all the time, but I do like sweet, like sherried whiskeys, and I like peated smoky whiskeys, and sometimes I like them peated, smoky, and sweet all together. This one is slightly peated, but extremely spicy and extremely savory. And it's not my wheelhouse, but it was complex enough for me to think, you know what, I'll appreciate drinking this whiskey, even though it's a bit overpriced, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can you remind me one more time like what you think the average price is on a bottle of this?
When this was released, it was $300. Right now, I see it usually for $220. Dustin said he found his for $120. I don't know how that's possible, but I commend him for the find. If you could find it for $120, I would definitely say it's worth the gamble of just trying how all the notes in it. But aside from that, I'm not so sure. It's really a tough one to really rate.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. Final thoughts on this.
Patow, man. Take us home.
Okay, so here we go. So first of all, Telex, thanks for the sample.
No problem, man. That's what it's all about.
So I have a succession of like one sentence statements I'm going to make. This is the most non-Highland Park I've ever had. This is a very interesting whiskey. This has intrigue that continues to show itself when I think I've nailed it down. This is not a whiskey I want to drink often. Those are my four major thoughts here. I like it. I respect it. I like what they've done here. I think the price is probably insane because, of course, and the presentation, I'll leave that for everybody else. But is it a good whiskey? Yeah, I think it's a pretty good whiskey. It's different. This isn't what they went for, something radically different, and it wasn't done in a crappy way. Like, this isn't cheap. Like, it's got a nice, like, you can tell that they engineered this in a interesting way. It's just a way that I'm very unfamiliar with, and therefore, like, it's not something that I think I would ever want to like sip on a daily basis per se, because again, it's very dry, it's very savory, it's very spicy in ways that aren't complemented by kind of a sweet euphoria that I expect from a Highland Park. That said, what, 200 some dollars? I think no way. I would probably drink a whole bottle of it. But I respect the fact that, like, Telex, I mean, we've been talking about this for 30 minutes. And it's an interesting whiskey. And I think that, like, it's a good whiskey to, like, I mean, this is a whiskey that challenges you. I just wish it was cheaper because, like, I think this is a good whiskey for people who are kind of like been on the malt journey for a while to kind of fuck with you a little bit.
Exactly.
Kind of mess up your thinking about what a Scotch whiskey is. And in that sense, I respect it. I'm going to play this really safe because I just don't know which way to go on this. I'm a 3. I'm going to just go 3 out of 5, which for me is like, it's average. If this didn't cost over 200 some dollars, which for the record, I think is outrageous, the fact that they would charge, this is a 15-year-old, that they would charge over, I mean, that's just absolutely insane to me. I understand port costs money. I understand they did a small batches of this, but I would go 325 if the cost was more economical. But yeah, I think this is a solid 3. I think, like, give this a try sometime if you get the chance. And if you like it, maybe it's worth the investment. I think it's a steep investment.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's an interesting whiskey that I think people should try. So yeah, I'll sit comfortably at a 3. I'm good with a 3.
I really think if they didn't just if they didn't just sell it as like 100% refill port seasoned casks, it would be more. The money would make more sense because they just come off with this 100% refill port seasoned casks, and they don't really tell you about the craft. It's like the weird thing about this company is they want to spend more time telling you about dragons and Vikings and shit. They want to tell you about the actual craft of the whiskey. And that's what blows my mind is that they really think that sitting to me and giving me these crazy things is going to make me happier. I would be more happy to know, hey, we put this in a special port that's only available in Spain in February.
Yeah,
That's what I want to know. I want to know what's in the freaking. I want to know that this grape was on the top of freaking Mount Everest. That type of thing. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree with you, man. I 100% agree with you.
I
feel like there's a lot of flash here, and there's some substance, but it's difficult to parse.
Yeah, it's like you have to have this little machine that goes and separate all the crap that you have to go through. No, I'm along pretty much with you. This is a whiskey that is definitely not for any beginner by any means, stretch way or form. You will not even know what you're tasting. It's that crazy. If you haven't already done like a lot of different 12 and 15-year-olds, and you've already determine that you like a certain style, even if it's not the islands, or Highland Park, even this is Highland, they're in the islands section of the Orkney Islands, of Scotland. So they're very different with that. But I think it's worth it for someone that already knows a little bit of what they're doing. They like you said, I think you perfectly stated it, where if you've already kind of been around the woods for a while, if you can find this for a decent price, which I know is really tough, it's worth definitely taking a look at. Hopefully there's enough people that do have this that are willing to give a share out for people to at least try to get the feel of it. I do like it, and I liked it enough to get a bottle, but I'm not too far away from you. One thing about the 3, I do think 3 is average. I do think that they did, even though it's way over the top in presentation. I don't like that part. I do like the fact they gave us an age statement. They gave us a good ABV. They gave us no coloring. I don't know about the chill filtration on this. I don't think they would bother, but I should probably think about that. It doesn't feel thin. It feels like
it does not at all. Yeah.
Medium whiskey. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a bump, but not much of one. I'm going to say 3.5 because, like you said, I think it's a whiskey to be respected of what they tried. It's almost, I wouldn't call it a failed experiment. It's definitely, I think, successful in a way of teaching people that whiskey doesn't always have to be about the same sweet, fruity, vanilla.
Yeah,
burn.
I 100% agree. But like, yeah, I think the only I'm completely there with you. I think that's a totally fair score. Like I would go 325 if it was $120. I would go 3.5 maybe if it was 100. But the fact that this is over $200 to me is just outrageous. Like I just you can get this flavor out of some other things. That part just
No, I agree.
I just can't do it. But I'm with you like on everything else. And I'm not saying that you endorse the charge on this either. I'm just reiterating it for my own like sanity. I'm just like yeah. How much have you drank of this? I'm just curious. Like, have you been going to town on this bad boy or
it's
what?
just been I'm halfway down. I'm if you look
And
at this,
you nailed it when you said like this is a whiskey that this is going to challenge you, man. Like this is different, and I like different. I like the fact that it's different. I just wish it was different in a way that was affordable.
no, I hear you, man. No, I hear you. It's the good news is I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the ice because the ice is nothing like the fire. So that's
Well, I'm really excited to get into it, and in fact, I'm going to get the ice poured here, and I'm going to go do my little take a quig and get some water, and then let's get into the ice.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the value thing. One thing that Eric and we pretty much score the same way, except one exception. He takes the value into it a little bit more, so that definitely explains the 3 versus the 3.5 on this one. I think but that's I mean that's the tough thing about this is the whole value thing when it comes to these because if I could get it for 150, I would feel a hell of a lot better. 225 is going crazy.
I mean,
And 300, I didn't even shell out that kind of money like some other people did. So there you go with that.
Hot damn. Yeah. Good on you, man. Good on you. All right. I will return in just a few minutes.
All right, man. I'll see you in a second. Let me get us in the old layout mode. Oh, how you guys doing there, Steve and Connor? Have you? I remember you said you didn't like the fire much, which I'm not surprised. It's definitely, you know, a bit different when it comes to lots of whiskeys, but I've got a little soft spot for it in a way because it's so different and still complex, and that's what I kind of have to have a little respect for it. But who thinks an 80-year-old whiskey is any good? It depends, I think, on what it is. I mean, are we talking like is it a Macallan 80? I would definitely take a sip of that. I'd open it. Plus, I've had a 50 plus year whiskey that was fantastic. Yeah, Linkwood. Imagine, man. Ooh, that's awesome. To go back a little bit. You guys are funny. So, what is the fire in this? Is it a gimmicky name to match its silly bodily package? No, I mean the fire makes sense to me on this, and it makes a lot more sense to me versus the ice, and we'll get to that later, where I'm like ice, but that's a whole nother thing. But this one to me makes sense because it's the spice factor. It is the spiciest dram next to the Longmorn 16 and Debilia dram from Tamdu. It's in the top 3 of spice bombs that I can think of. If you think of it, you've heard of sherry bombs, you've heard of peat bombs, like Octomore. If you think of the same thing, but when a spice factor, you cannot get any spicier than the Billy Dram from Tamdu, the Lochmorn 16, or the Highland Park Fire. That's just the way it is. If anyone can think of something spicier or more heated, more of a cinnamon, type of a in your face type of scotch, and I'd be extremely curious to hear what that is. Last scotch I had was a 39-year Annock. 75 was when I was born. I need that bottle. Even bought a backup. Ooh. I think Peter, you might want to sell that. Is it a distillery bottle or is that a independent? I'm just curious on that because that sounds pretty good. I'm gonna say number 16 of one is Daniel's favorite whiskey Trab Vault favorite whiskeys. Interesting. Well, if he likes that, he's definitely gonna like this one, I would think. Except Lower 16 does not cost a stupid price for fire and ice. That's true. Well, ice I would put on the side. Ice is a whole nother discussion in itself. But yes, if you're going to invest in a whiskey that's a spice bomb, the Debilia Dram and this fire are definitely in the high spectrum. If you can find a Longmorn 16 and you're a spice head, then that's the way I would go, definitely, for anyone that's looking for a spicy whiskey. That's just me. Distillery bottle. Oh, they don't really sell that anymore. Well, Peter, if you've got a backup, like you said here, that means you've got one for sale, I think. How much do you want for it? And don't tell me $1,000. Oh man, kill me. But man, an Anok 1975 birth year bottle. I already love the 24. So I'm just saying, man, that's got to be pretty damn good. Have you, what did you think of it? Is it her prince? I must have missed the initial discussion on that, but yeah, let me know what the going rate for that one is. I'm kind of curious because I do need a birth year bottle at some point. You know, retirement's in like 9 years, so we'll see how that goes. If I'm lucky, we'll see. Mm. I'm happy sipping it though. It's definitely not for any. If you're looking for a sweet dram, definitely doesn't have that. 2,500 euros. Oh, and Steven's already watching. That sucks, man. That should be mine. It's my birth year. Damn it. 2,500 euros right now. I'm afraid to even look to dollars. 2,951. How did the euro get so freaking? That's like almost like the British pound. That's crazy. All right, 2,500. Okay, if it's 2,951, let's see what 2,500 pounds to the dollar is. See how much more um, than the 2,951 is it? Oh, 34, 34, 35. Never mind. Wow, the dollar sucks. It sounds like to me. Oh, that's rough. But I'm not surprised. It seems like it's always that way. At least the Canadian dollar isn't as high, I guess. Put it that way. Let me get Malt back in here 1 second.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
Hey.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the exchange rates, man. The dollar just seems it's painful. Hopefully, our dollar gets to be
British
worth a little
pound
more.
seems like it's around the same as it's been for like the last 2 years, give or take a penny. But
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know. I haven't seen the euro lately.
Ooh, the Legacy 2 has some 75 year in it. Jeez, that's not. Oh, 1975 in it. Smart ass. I was telling them that someone found an Anox 1975, which is my birth year bottle, but it's going for like 2,500 euros, which is like $3,000. That's just
Peter
crazy
White has a
money.
bottle of that Anok 1975.
Who?
Peter White. He's
Yeah,
in the chat. He'll tell you about it. He's got one of these. It's 2,000 euro.
it's 3,000 American dollars, man.
Oh my god! Okay.
3,500 pounds. That's crazy.
God damn.
And Steven's watching the damn auction in real time, and I'm like salivating, thinking, 1975, man, come on, $600 ship. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, but even so, it's not. It's definitely not a cheap deal.
Right. Speaking of not cheap deals, but we got another Highland Park here, and it is the ice. So this is the yang to the yin.
Yeah, this is the one that came out actually first. We decided to do the fire first because the ABV was a little lower and
Okay.
it was a little
Tell
not
us
as
about,
hot.
Tell us about the ice and the tail of the tape on the ice.
This one is a collection. This is the let me do the old close up of the. It's the same.
Oh, okay. So same
shape.
type thing. It's like a green blue bottle, though.
but it's a greenish blue bottle with a white instead of the black painted wood. It's this, regular natural, I guess call it. I'm not sure if it's like a natural veneer or how they make this, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't betting this is going to be like real sturdy or anything. I wouldn't throw it across the room.
So it's not wood. It's like actually.
It might be. I mean, it feels pretty sturdy, but with today's age, it's hard to tell what's veneer versus what's really not a composite or something.
Right.
But with that said, it's 17 years statement, which is even two more than the fire, which is a good deal. 53.9% ABV, so we're talking a bit more ABV as well. This came out first. This was March of 2016. 30,000 bottles were released of this. And this one is straight up ex-bourbon.
You say 2013?
No, it's 2016, but this is March. It came out first.
Got it.
This had 30,000 bottles released in the series. It's straightforward ex-bourbon, but with that said, it's not like any other ex-bourbon whiskey I've ever had. So keep that in mind, that you might sense things that you're not normally, into. This does break the sherry tradition, basically, of maturation from Highland Park. This one is primarily ex-bourbon casks the whole way through, 17 years. It's not like the light either. So don't think it's going to be like a different version of the light. So this is definitely one of those whiskeys that is kind of in the realm of its own, but I'm eager to see what you think of it compared to the fire at the same time.
Yeah, I am too. I have it poured here. It's been sitting here for a few minutes. Well, more than a few minutes. So let's dive in. So tail of the tape. What was the ABV one more time?
53 point.
Oh, wow. Okay, so a lot more ABV. A lot more ABV and yeah, okay. Well,
yeah, 2 more years, 17 years, 53.9. So you might as well say 54% ABV. And ex-bourbon, though, all the way. No port, no sherry, just straightforward, man.
Wow. Yeah, it's...
Ooh. I love the nose on this.
It smells like a gingerbread that just came out of the oven, or a pumpkin spice bread that's been caked over with a vanilla icing. Ooh.
Now, remember how you were getting these like tropical notes on the fire?
Yeah,
I get more of it on this. This is the one that gives me like the coconut and pineapple kind of thing.
I'm getting it more on here for sure. It's like mango, pineapple, because it has the sharpness. There's a little saltiness to it, but this is like a nice, warm, autumnal spiced bread with some vanilla frosting on it.
Do you get any like coconut shavings at all in it?
I mean, I get coconut, but I mean,
it's subtle, I know, but it's just one of those things that just
it's there for sure, though. It's there for sure. There's coconut. There's a bit of pineapple. There's a bit of apricot. There's a bit of, there's a meatiness to it too. And I know this sounds weird, but I almost get like a savory bacon quality to this. It's like it's odd. It's like a well cooked bacon.
I think it's from the woody elements from the whiskey. Yeah. I think are coming out with that.
Yeah, almost like a cherry wood or cedar or something.
You nailed it. I was just thinking like cedar or cherry wood.
Ooh-wee. I am excited for this.
I think, the legs are to die for on this.
You're totally right on the coconut. It's like a Mounds bar.
If you do a little swirl and you take a look at the legs on this, man, oh my goodness! I mean, it's like perfectly slow drops of real thick viscous liquid. I mean, that's what you want to see.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna dive in, man. I my mouth is watering at this one. So happy Tasty Tuesday again, man. Slunch.
Slunch of value, everybody.
Oh. Woo.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Oh, okay. Wow, this is a different beast.
Oh wow.
Have you ever had like a pineapple parfait before?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Like a pineapple yogurt?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting on this. There's a pineapple yogurt. There's like, yeah, the bourbon cask is there, but it's not overpowering. We're not talking like a Booker's. We're not talking like a heavy caramel toffee type thing. This is much more subtle. This is like a light, airy vanilla. There's a huge wood spice note, which is not, I would say, like anything characteristically bourbon. It's like a dry, spicy wood. It's not a sugary, caramel sugar infused wood. Like it is a sharp spice, and the best way I can say that. Creamy vanilla for sure. There's like, again, that, yeah, this like pineapple yogurt, pineapple parfait, like, granola in it or something. Like it's got this like sweet glazed granola thing going on.
I was gonna say, do you get like a meringue type of feel on the?
Yeah, the meringue, yeah, like a lemon meringue pie or a lemon meringue cheesecake type thing. Yeah,
this one is complex in all the good ways to me. I even get like some really nice mentholy mint, like not like a peppermint, more like a spearmint type of feel. It's weird, like a wintergreen.
Spearmint, yeah.
Like
I don't get a lot of the mint, but I get traces of what you're saying. I gotta get another sip of this.
One thing is kind of strange that I don't get, that I'm surprised, but I don't feel like I'm missing it. I do get some caramelization, but I don't get like thick treacle type of notes. It's very light.
That's what I was
airy.
thinking. Very light and airy. Yeah. This is much more like, again, like whipped cream or like a cream pie or like, but that spice note, the wood spice is incredibly sharp and incredibly intense. I'm actually a little bit surprised by that, and then I'm not sure if it fits completely with what's going on here, but it's undeniably noticeable. God, that finish though, man, mouth watering. Like you just had a vanilla shake with whipped cream on top with a little bit of sprinkle of nutmeg, maybe a cherry in it. Man, like a ice cream soda.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very soda. The finish has got this like soda-esque carbonation thing going on. It's really bizarre, in a good way. It's like it's so different, but it's not like it's different like the fire was, but it's different in better ways than the fire was so far.
Yeah, I agree.
It's amazing how many fruits you can get. I mean, they're all in the lighter spectrum, like your cherries and pears and pineapple and stuff. But there's a lot of fruit going on with this, and vanilla.
Ton of it. You ever had, what are those called? Those pears? They're like cooked in like a glazed, like a cinnamon, cinnamon sugar thing.
I'm trying. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
Pie. If you had like a pie, and then it's got the like slices, and it's got a glaze of like screwy cinnamon on it. That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm going to do one more neat sip, and then I'm going to put water on it because that wood spice is incredibly intense, and
Is it too drying for you on the neat side?
I think it just seems incongruent. Like it seems a little like, whoa, like wow, that was really intense compared to everything else happening in this.
Okay,
but we'll see. I'm gonna do a little water on it.
Hopefully the water will mellow that down.
Dude, this is, yeah.
Now, when you think Highland Park, does this give you more of a Highland Park vibe? To me, it's funny because it doesn't have the matchstick heathery feel. This one to me is a little more.
You could tell me this was anything.
As I'm saying, this one to me is like
anything outside
out there.
Lafroig or Lagavulin, whatever. Like you'd have me fooled. You could almost lie to me and tell me this is a Kahlua, and I'd be like, this doesn't taste like a Kahlua, but maybe.
It's got some. It has some herbal essence going on.
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any like amounts of. I mean, maybe I mean, I wouldn't call it smoke, but there's a little. There's a little bit of muskiness with it, but most of it's just a full, rich, thick, fruity vanilla with some florals.
So much vanilla in so many good ways. The finish on this is divine. It's a 2-note pony, but my God, does it last forever?
True.
I like it. So the nose has more, with the water, has more of that Highland Park feel to it.
I'm gonna join you with a couple drops. 1 second. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, thankfully this being 53 plus, it's like, wow. I mean, you definitely could play a lot more with the water a little bit with this one.
Both of these are very intense and kind of aggressive whiskeys for their age. I will say that, like, these are not, when he says 17 years, you're thinking something maybe a little bit more mellow. This is not a mellow whiskey.
It's this one, even though the Fire, I think, is spicier to an extent. I think this one does have a lot of spice factor to it still.
A lot, yeah. The wood on the later half of the development. So you basically get it in your mouth. You got like 3 or 4 seconds of just like creamy bourbon cask euphoria, much more on the sweeter side, less on the dark note side. Then, boom! It is like a sharp, fresh cut wood intensity. And then you go back into this like creamy vanilla malted milk ball, like amaretto, accents of kind of like that kind of thing going into the finish. And it's just that spice hit. Like, I get why, like, it's just like a little too much intensity. Like, it throws it a little off for me, but not in any like significant way. Not enough that I would say it ruins the whiskey, but that's an intense wood spice.
Do you like the do you get any mint off the finish, like a peppermint kind of feel?
Peppermint for sure.
Do you like that at all, or are you kind of like
Sorry. Winston just jumped in the box of what I would use to ship off whiskey, and now he's running out of the room with a big thing of bubble wrap in his mouth. I need to go get him. I will be right back.
Okay.
I don't want him to eat this.
No problem, man. I know how it goes. Yeah, it's good. It's so different. It's not like any other Highland Park I can think of.
Who just trotted off with this, man?
Like, oh wow,
crackhead. Anyways, I apologize for the disruption.
No, that's okay. I'm glad he was safe. He didn't fall down the stairs or anything.
He's fucking nuts.
Oh man, it does have
the spice and the sweetness work better on the nose than they do on the palate, if that makes sense. It seems more harmonious on the nose. On the palate, it seems more like striking and whoa. Like, again, these are like minor quibbles, but I get a little bit of that Highland Park apricot, slight heather spice, the honey. You get more of that on the nose on this one than I got on the Fire.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely noses better like a Highland Park whiskey would.
Mm-hmm.
The taste is a bit different than any other Highland Park I've ever had, with the amount of mint, spice, like white pepper intensity, and like you said, the wood briskness of it is just crazy.
Dude,
I wonder if this is like European. They don't tell you about the oak like that's used in this. If it's like European versus American.
If that said European oak on it, I would be like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm definitely. If I had to take a guess, this is 100% European oak to me. I love that nose though, man. If you go back to the nose
The nose is great.
after you go back from the palate, oh my god.
Great nose, great finish.
Ugh.
I like the first half of the taste. It gets a little bit intense and
Try to. Do you have any more to put a little bit more water on at
yeah,
all? Or
yeah. I just put another drop on it right now, actually.
let's see if that makes any difference. I'm just curious to see if you can find that, because sometimes it does take some time to find that sweet spot for any whiskey that
Mhm.
you're dealing with. You know.
Absolutely. There was a whiskey last week, Telex, while you were out. I uncorked 2 bottles. I did a 2 hour happy hour.
Uh
Did
oh.
the Highland Park Dark Origins, which I think I've already told you I loved. The other one I did was the Aberlour Abuna Alba.
Okay, I haven't tried that one yet. I'm eager
That
though.
one, dude, during the tasting, I got to 10 drops on that before I was like able to. I still gave it a 2.75. I think
Oh,
there's good whiskey in there,
oh,
but it
oh,
is
God.
the hottest, one of the hottest whiskeys I've ever had. And like I think there's good
Damn.
juice in there, but dude, I had to bring it down to 10 drops. Before, like first I did 3, then I had it to 6, and then I did another 4 because I was just like, God, this whiskey is hot. Because there's good juice in there, but it didn't quite do it. And this reminds me of the Alba, but better. Like the age is clearly
Thank God.
making a factor here. I'll send you a sample of the Alba at some point. But
That
God,
sounds,
man,
yeah.
you ever had one of those snowballs, like the Hostess snowball candies?
I
It's
used to
like
love,
sugary coconut stuff on top.
oh, yeah. I used to love those, man. This one reminds me of too. It does have
Yeah.
that kind of feel to it. It's funny.
But the Mounds Bar, man, the Mounds Bar, or the York Peppermint Patty.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe going on and with it. It's an intense one. It's funny. Like some things seem like it fits the age because they're complex, but it's such an intense whiskey because of the ABV. It's like it's. I'm not sure if I should think of that as well balanced or if it's too aggressive. I mean, it's another tough one to really regulate.
Mm-hmm. Mm. It's pretty good though, man. Intense, but pretty good.
The water change anything for you in the end? The more drops?
You're chilling it down a little bit. I mean, I'm at 6 drops of water on this now, and I'm like, it's that wood spice is just so sharp,
Yeah.
and it's not like a peat smoke. It's just like
No.
sharp, intense wood.
Yeah. It's funny because even though it's a 17-year, it feels like a youthful bright wood,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I mean, and that was the same thing we got off the fire. Like the fire
Yeah.
seemed like clearly the cask maturation on this is taking precedent over the age of the juice. Like, I mean, they're pushing some like very intense casks on this. I mean, probably newer, right? I mean, or something like the wood in these is. You said European oak. I mean, it said it was ex-bourbon, so that means American. But I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, if you told me there was European oak in this, I wouldn't question it at all.
One thing also with this is the what was I getting at? The the brightness of I was going along with. Oh yeah, I'm happy that this is actually like it is as far as like sprightly, almost youthful feeling wood versus like I don't like it when whiskeys feel like they're over oaked. Like sometimes
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
like I do like the Balvenie Doublewood 17. That's a good one. But there's sometimes you find these whiskeys. I'm trying to think of a good example of one that like I'll be honest with you. I'm a huge Lafroig fan. You know me. I
Yeah.
love Lafroig. The triple basic wood though is so over the top woody. I honestly did not get into it the first time I
More
ever
than the
tried
quarter
it.
cask.
The quarter cask I like. See, that's the difference.
Interesting.
I love
Oh,
the quarter cast, but I do not like the straight up triple wood because it's almost like it's over oaked. It's
yeah.
almost too like dark oaky. I like the more vibrant, sprightly, intense wood. If you're going to give it to me intense,
Yeah.
give it to me like this rather than the old over oaked kind of feel, if you know what I mean. That's for me
Yeah.
at least. Do you like that too, or do you like the
No,
over
I know
oak?
what you're saying. I didn't find the triple wood to be completely over oaked, but there are older bourbons that I've found that have that quality that you're mentioning that I don't like.
Yeah.
Like the older oakiness, like the youthfulness, I don't mind. And I get it. And to your point, Telex, just to bring it back around, the youthfulness that I get off of the spice note on this is like much different than I expect from a 17-year-old whiskey. I mean, this is not Highland Park 18. Like, I mean, yeah, ABV notwithstanding, like this is a different game completely.
Yeah. Is it? I'm just happy that if you're going to give me a very intensely woody whiskey, I'm just talking subjectively. Give me a younger, sprightly, effervescent, white peppery whiskey rather than a very overly astringent kind of oaky walnut whiskey. That's just for me, at least, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, I think I am ready to go final scores here.
All right, man. Sounds good to me.
I think in contrast to the fire, this one is more my wheelhouse. The richness, the sweetness shows up in a much more profound way, in a much more sustained way. That wood spice, which normally I like, felt a little bit off the wall in this, like a little bit too much for what it should be at 17 years, but it did tame with water. I think this is the better of the two at the what did you say, 225, 250 price point?
225, you can get it now.
If you want an Altmore with spice, maybe you go for it. I think this is a good whiskey on its own. I mean, I don't know if it justifies the price. I mean, that's, maybe eye of the beholder on this one. But I think this is a significantly more enjoyable whiskey, maybe less challenging, but also more rewarding than the 15 Fire was. I feel like I'm a good 3.5 on this. I think this is a step up. I think it's a bit more, again, enjoyable in the sense of like it's more of a balance of complexity and pleasure versus the other one, which I felt was like more imbalanced in that way. Yeah, I think I'm a good 3.5 on this, even at cost.
Gotcha.
Above average whiskey. I think, if I saw this for $200, would I buy it? Yeah, I might consider it.
Yeah, I mean, for 17 years, that's not
Right.
that far off than your normal prices on 17-year whiskey at this point. If you're looking across the board on multiple distilleries,
Yeah, I agree.
Andrew says that he never liked the Lefroy Triple Wood, especially for its price, but the 2019 hardest cast strength Triple Wood was amazing. Was only about $5. Yeah, and that's the funny thing about it. Like, I don't like the standard Triple Wood at all that much. I do love the cast strength Triple Wood.
That's so, yeah. You're gonna find this hilarious. I was not that I liked the triple wood cast strength, but I didn't think it was that amazing. I actually quite like the triple wood. I like the 48%. I like the non-chill filter. I like the sherry introduction into it. I actually, maybe in the minority on that. I wasn't blown away by the Carchis triple wood. In fact, I would put it lower than most of the Carchises that I've had, with the exception of the Madeira and the port and wine one from last year.
What's all of this hate with the Madeira cask, man?
Dude, I just don't like that Madeira cask, man. We'll have to revisit it. I have another bottle, so we can revisit it. But I just, that Madeira one was just, you want to talk about matchsticks, bro.
I like to see the funny thing about the Madeira cask is it's hard to find a really good sweet Lefroy unless you go for the PX cask matured.
Oh God, yeah.
To me, I like the PX and I like that sweetness that you get off the but yeah, I mean it's all subjective when it comes to the sweet versus salty versus what you really want.
Totally. But yeah, I mean, I guess in the Madeira, I was not high on the the cat. Like I thought the cast strength triple wood. I was expecting more than what I got, which seems to be the, what folks seem to say about a lot of Lefroy's of late. But who knows?
Have you seen the new PX at all anywhere? I
I've
haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it internationally, but it was like $190, so I didn't touch it. I am hoping it's not going to be that when it's stateside because I'm waiting. Like I would have bought it had I known, or I would have bought it, but when I saw that price tag, I was like, I'm not thinking that much.
I'm hoping to God they're smart and stick to the 120 to 125 tops price tag because I'm not willing to go more than 120.
What else is out? The other thing that's out is the batch 13 of the 10 cast strength, which of course we'll need to buy that too.
No, the cast strength 10 Lefroy, you can't really go wrong with those. Even though they are batch variations, they're always pretty solid, I would think, right?
Best thing they make, in my opinion.
No, I'm right along with you for the value with what you get with the craft and the presentation. It's like you really, it's a no-brainer. I wonder why. I mean, I guess Ardbeg's closest equivalent would be the Ugadal because it is 50-something%. Maybe I'm just trying to figure out what's their best combatant with the 10 cast strength. I guess it's the Ugadal, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, probably because it has the sherry.
Right. It's also got the high ABV too. That's why I was thinking.
Well, yeah, but so does the Corey Vrecken. But the Corey Vrecken's the Corey Vrecken's the European oak.
Yeah, it's extremely spicy.
Yeah,
white and black pepper all up your nose.
Yeah. Boy, I have an old bottle too. I have a 2011 Corey Vrecken.
Ooh,
you should pop that fucker one of these days.
I think I'm going to. Where are you again? Chicago.
Chicago, man. The Windy City, the second city.
Let's see. That's a bit of a long drive. I don't know if I can make it.
You can make it in a day's time.
I could when I was in my mid-20s, but I'm not sure about.
Yeah, right.
I drove from Oklahoma City to Louisville, Kentucky for a girl for a weekend. I did that one time. I will never do that again.
Yo, bro,
can you imagine driving in a one weekend all the way from Louisville to Oklahoma City and back in one weekend for a girl, dude? I mean, that's. I hope it was worth it, man. I mean, it was worth it at the time.
Yeah, dude. I like it.
It wasn't worth it in the end, but at the time it was worth it. We'll put it that way.
Well, then it was worth it. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm 3-5 on this Highland Park Ice. Telex, it's all your floor. You go for it.
Oh, my gosh. I'm close, but a little bit above on the score. I do agree. It is similar with the fact that both these bottles really do not feel like your typical Highland Park with any stretch of the imagination. Like if you're thinking Valkyrie, Valknut, Dark Origins, Magnus, across the board, whatever. Say again?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer, yeah. Didn't he have a new
it's a sad story.
Does he have like a documentary on like Netflix or something?
He does, man. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Is it worth a watch or is it?
I haven't watched it yet, but I'll tell you, like, the dude's been through some shit, and
yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Tombstone fan. I'm Doc Holliday all the way, but
man.
Other than that, I don't know.
Remember Heat? I loved Heat, man. That was one of my favorite movies.
The weird thing is, I tried to watch that twice. I couldn't make it through the first scene for some reason. I'm gonna have to try it again.
Oh God, yeah, you definitely need to try it again. That's an incredibly good film.
I'm gonna have to try that again because that's Al Pacino, right?
Yeah, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer. And Tom Sizemore's in it too.
Do you have to be like in a certain state to get the movie?
I mean, it's a drama. I mean, it's a crime drama. I mean, it's a Michael Mann 3-hour thing. Like, you got to be ready to sit down. But I think you're hard pressed not to enjoy it. It's really good. The first time I watched it, I was quite young, and I was like, oh, this isn't nearly as exciting enough. But yeah, dude, Heat is great. By the way, if we're going to talk about films, shameless plug just in a second. I recently just saw the movie Pig, the new Nicolas Cage movie. Dude, see Pig. It's excellent. If you haven't watched Pig yet, it's great. I'll just throw it out that way. It's worth your time.
Sounds good to me. I haven't seen any Nicolas Cage movies
I
in
mean,
a long
Nicolas Cage
time.
is usually like kind of like he does all these wacky films, and which is one of the reasons I like love Nick Cage. This is like a much more serious Nick Cage film, and it's great. It's great. You definitely got to check it out.
Wow, everyone's along for the Heat. So I'll take
Oh
another
yeah, dude, you
try.
got it. Yeah, Heat is Michael Mann's like magnum opus. Definitely check it out. He also did another one that was decent but not as good called Collateral, like about 2008, 2007 with Jamie Foxx and Tom
Oh,
Cruise. And Tom Cruise is like a hitman killer. Yeah, it's good. It's still like an LA, like very like stylistic film, but Heat is the jam. Yeah.
I'll definitely have to come back and try that. Well, with this whiskey, I I think it's pretty good. It's definitely complex. Is it everything that I thought it was going to be? No. Is it worth $300? No. Is it worth 225? It for 17 years, it really is definitely more enticing to me than the Fire at 15. Even though I'm sure the 15 has some glorious casts that were involved with it and all that, but the 17 definitely tastes more like a well put together story than the Fire to me.
Yeah.
Um, it definitely has some sweetness and some savoriness. It's got some herbalness. It's got some floral notes in it. It's extremely complex. It's got a great ABV. It is not colored. It's straight up ex bourbon, but like not like any other ex bourbon straight up cask you'll ever try. I think I can't think of another whiskey like it.
Right.
Um, with that said, I'm going to be at a 4 on this one. Not too crazy. It's not like the most glorious thing or even close to the glorious thing I've ever had, but I do like it enough to say that I consider it and it is. I'm not talking about the marketing. I don't care about that. I don't care about all the packaging and all that. But as far as the way it's crafted and put together, and the complexity, in the notes I get, and the enjoyment, I'll give it. I think I'll give it a 4.
Righteous, man. Righteous. So there you have it, folks. Highland Park Ice
Mm.
4 from Telex, 3.5 from Malt Muser. Highland Park Fire, 3.5 Telex, 3.25 Malt Muser. There you go. Those are your scores. And these have been some really interesting, enjoyable drams. If for no other, if you say nothing else, the range of what to expect from a Highland Park whiskey that these two whiskeys offer is quite interesting.
It's off the chain what they
Man.
can come up with. So I'm really, even though we've already been through the Fire and Ice, we've been through the Dark and the Light. What's next from Highland Park? I mean,
Dude, what's next is some shit we can't afford.
you're probably right. Unfortunately, with that, they'll probably come up with some
It's going to
crazy.
be like we got to get a Highland Park 25 and a 37 and a 91 and whatever. I guess it's going to be rough, man.
Even if they come up with another 17 years, because the Light and the Dark were 17 years, and these are kind of comparable, but they're all in a $300 price range. If they come up with another scheme that's 300, it's like, I mean, the Dark felt like it was worth it. The Light, maybe not so much for me in my wheelhouse, but and with the same with this, the Fire maybe not so much. The Ice maybe a little bit more worth it, even though the 300 is a little too steep. I'd say 225 seems more fair when it comes to the pricing of this stuff. I'm hoping that they don't start out at 300 again, because surely they learn their lesson. If they're going to do like a $25,000 or $3,000 bottle launch of anything, they need to take less time to fuck with the marketing / packaging and put it towards the craft and actually making it a better whiskey. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you on that. Yeah, these were fun. I talk about like just challenging Highland Park whiskeys. Hold your phone 1 second. I'll be right back.
No problem, man. Let me pop it out here, see what you guys are up to. Collateral is a new version of here. Oh man, Reservoir Dogs. That's an old school one. Frozen Ground. I don't think I've seen that one. I'll have to try that. Mandy. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. The Bad, the Good, and the Low. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to continue the whole fire/ice/dark/light. What's going to be the next one? High, low.
Air, man. We need the earth and air.
Hold on, let me put you back in here.
Yeah. We need the next ones that got to come up are going to be Highland Park Earth and Highland Park Air.
You would think, or Earth and I guess Earth and something. High and low.
Yeah, man. I mean, to give a little preview of what is coming up next week, we're flipping the script next week.
Yes,
we got something really interesting, and whiskey heads don't get freaked out, because I think if anything, if you tune in, what you're going to realize is that there's a close cousin spirit that you need to be checking out, and that is rum. And Telex and I are going to be doing a Foursquare 2008 vintage, and then we are going to be doing a Hampton single estate Jamaican rum, which I would categorize as the Springbank of rums.
Oh, wow.
So that is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Is that Foursquare a 12-year?
Yes, it is a 12-year.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to trying. It's funny because I've had rum off and on, for quite a while, but I've never been like what I would consider like a connoisseur of rum by any means.
Yeah, me neither.
I've had some good, taste from like Eldorado has a 15-year I've had before. It's pretty decent, that kind of thing. But I've never like really heavily got into it. So I'm really eager to see what I think comparatively off of that, versus some of these other ones.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with those, man. These are two really interesting rums. I think, we're gonna be closing out summer basically. I mean, this will be, we're talking the first week in September. Days are starting to get shorter. We got to do those one last summer hurrahs in our first somewhat non-COVID summer.
It's going to be a rum fight. It's what James says.
Hell yeah.
No, that sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to it. And then what we got after that one? I
think we're doing Benriach.
The Benriach, the Septim Decim. I can't even say it. 17-year that you got.
Septim Decim, and then you have, I think, the Smoky 10 or the Smoky 12?
Smoky 10. Is that Septim Decim? Do you know if that's in the new realm of what they're?
No, it's in the older one. Yeah,
it's an older one. Good. Okay. Yeah. I've been lucky enough to have a sample of that, but it's been many, many, many years ago. So I do remember that I enjoyed partaking that one. So I'm very eager to see if I like it, because even if one thing I've noticed in my whiskey journey is I progress, especially after 6-7 years of doing it. It's like now, even though I liked something a lot in 15, 16, now if I come back to it, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to like it as much. So that's
Agreed.
one thing I've noticed. Have you?
Or conversely, you like it more.
And that happens too sometimes. Well, one of the drams that came up recently.
That's happened for me with this one. Glengoyne 12.
Was that the one that
I've developed a newfound love of the Glengoyne 12.
What's the last whiskey that you had that when you first got into whiskey that you thought you loved, but then you ended up not liking it as much? For me, it's the Bowmore 15 Darkest. Like at first, when I first had it, I thought, oh, this is interesting. This is different. And I thought that was going to be good. But after having lots of whiskeys and learning about sulfuric notes and it being almost too over the top, it not being as good.
Mine's also an Isla, Kalila 12.
Oh, okay.
I'm a downer on the Kalila 12 now. Like I find the Kalila 12 to be almost criminally uninspiring compared to what they can make. And compared to what their indie bottlings are, and compared to what other options are. The price on the Kahlua 12 is absolutely insane for what you get. The bottle of Kahlua 12 is like $70. It's insane.
That is
Not even
overpriced.
close. I think I just did a review about it a couple months ago. I gave it a 2.75, and I almost feel like that was generous.
Wow. Let me ask you a question, a serious question. Do you think at all, does it have anything to do with the fact that Kahlua has a more, what I would consider a more vegetal, earthy tone to it? Is that off-putting to
No,
you?
no, I don't think that's what it is. In
Okay.
fact, I like the Kahlua 25 a lot. I love the Kahlua independent bottlings. The problem with the Kahlua 12 is that it has shit for a finish. It's overpriced, and it lacks any depth and complexity that you'd expect from a 12-year-old. I think a Machir Bay is more intense than that, or more depth, has more depth than that whiskey. I don't think Kahlua 12 shows up at the table against Lafroy 10, Lagavulin 16, Ardbeg 10, Port Charlotte 10. I don't think it's even close. And it's a real bummer because I do think that their other whiskeys, I think they put out better stuff. But I think Kahlua 12 is a tragically, like, weirdly overpriced whiskey. It's weirdly overpriced and not nearly as good as what it tries to imply.
One thing I've noticed, and I think I see maybe a pattern. Let me check one more thing before I state for sure. You were kind of alluding the Kilhoman is one of my favorite distilleries as well.
It's not one of my favorite distilleries, just to be clear. In fact, I'm very hit and miss with Kilhoman.
No, but you mentioned the Moncure Bay. That's why I was bringing it
I would
up.
take Machir Bay over. It's cheaper. Yeah, it has no age statement. I think it's definitely a better whiskey than Kahlua 12.
40. Okay. How much, if anything, do you think it has to do with the fact that Kahlua 12 comes in at a 43% ABV versus a 46% on the Moncure
That
Bay?
could be the whole thing. I think Kahlua 12 is too thin. It has the smoke, but it has no body. It lacks, in my opinion, depth for a 12-year-old. It lacks a finish. I think the finish is just nothing. I think a Port Charlotte 10 at the same price blows it out of the water. I think at reduced price, at a less price, Ardbeg 10 and Lafroy 10 are both much better. So, like, I think Kahlua 12 sucks for the most part. Let me just put it to you that way.
Wow.
Sucks. I think it sucks. I mean, it's not like it's the worst whiskey ever, but let me just
43.
I don't think there's a whiskey on Isla at that $70 to $80 price point that doesn't smash that whiskey out of the water. I just don't.
So 43.
ABV. Now the 25 is 43% ABV, but that's a different animal.
46. Okay, and you said Lafroy 10. I'm just doing a comparison.
I'll never buy Kahlua 12 again. There's not a chance in hell I'll ever buy a bottle of Kahlua 12 again.
I think I know what might be the difference here, and it looks like, well, with the exception of the Lafroy 10 is also 43%, but the Ardbeg 10 is at 46%.
The Ardbeg 10 absolutely kills fucking Kahlua 12. It's not even close. It's not even the same argument.
Do you think that the 3%? Do you think it does make a factor?
I think it's probably part of it. I've had a Kahlua 11 Berry Brothers and Rudd cast strength that kicked ass. It was a great whiskey. So yeah, maybe it's the 43%, but I don't know. They also chill filter the shit out of it. They also color it, dude. Pedestrian. And the cost that they charge, it's the cost. If that was a $50 bottle, I wouldn't be up in arms about it. But it's like $65, $70 for a 12-year-old Kahlua. Fuck that.
I'm really curious about something. Have you ever had the chance, by chance, to try the Kahlua 18? I'm just curious.
Yeah. I didn't love it, but I liked it enough.
That was one of my favorite, like, straight up, just regular, bottlings of Kahlua. But it is the thing that irked me about it. I think is 43%.
I have a Kahlua 25 behind me that's 43%, And yeah, I look, Kalila is look. I think this is a law. This is a
Yeah,
law.
it's 43. That's the
Kalila's law.
problem.
We're gonna coin it right now if it doesn't exist. It's called Kalila's law. Kalila's law is if you can buy it independent because their independent bottlings are way better than anything the distillery comes out. That said, the distillery bottling of the 15 is solid, the 18 is solid, the 25 is solid, all that's good. But like if you can buy it independently, Berry Brothers and Rudd, fucking Adelphi, and Kalila is one of the most easily accessible independent bottled Islas you can get. You are almost always better buying that than you are buying anything from the distillery. And the
Well,
Kalila
hold
Club
on.
is a classic example of that.
Only thing I would disagree with Malt on this one is the unpeated ones. There's a 15, a 17, and an 18 that's unpeated. If you do get a chance to get those are worth it if you get the distillery versions of that. But yes, I mean,
Yeah.
with the only distillery bottle of Kalila that I really liked is the 18, but it is very high priced as far as for the 40.
Well, the next time we do sample
43.
swaps, I'm going to send you the 25. You can
Oh
check out.
man.
I mean, it was modestly priced. Maybe you'll agree that it should be. Maybe you won't. I don't know. But yeah, man, dude, I agree with you. Like, I have I have 3 fee sealed Kalilas here. I have the 12, the 15, the Distillers Edition, and the 25. And so I like Kalila. I'm not like a Kalila hater. But what I'm just saying is like Kalila 12 is trash. And I'll go to the mat on that.
Wow.
Let me
ask you a question. I'm just curious. Have you
Yeah.
ever had any Porta Segs before?
No.
No,
But I bet it's all Kalila. It's all Kalila, right?
It is, but it's more like cast strength versions of Kalila. It's like and some of it's aged, but most of it's like cast strength versions of it. So I'm wondering if we can get you like a Porta Seg version, if you would like it anymore.
Yeah, I mean that sounds fine, but like I'm making a narrow point. I'm not making a point. I'm not making a full point about Kalila. I'm just making a narrow point. And my narrow point is that for $70, Kalila 12 is trash. And I'll just say that. That's all I'm going to say.
I would definitely rather get a Springbank 10 for that price.
I would rather get a Port Charlotte 10 for $5 cheaper. Like it's not even a question. Like
there you go. That's true.
That's all I'm going to say. It's not I'm not hating. I'm just saying. Kalila's. I like Kalila. I have Kalilas. I'm just saying, Kalila 12 is fucking garbage compared to like other things that they offer, and it is what it is. Anyways, I with that mic drop. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. I should get going. Unfortunately, Telex. I gotta get some dinner in me, and then
okay.
Wrap things up. But we'll be back next week for the rum show.
One thing I just wanted to finish out with is, Stephen, if I could afford those bottles, I would be all over them. But the 30 and 35 are probably way above my price range at this point, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think he's talking some next level stuff right there. I'd love to get my hands on any of those. That sounds fantastic. But
22 for Shill would be ideal.
Alex, it was good to see you, man. I'm glad you're home safe from your travels, and we got a rum show coming up next week. Don't unsubscribe, everybody. It's going to be fun.
No, that's true. I'm eager to get in something a little different. We'll be coming back to some Scotch afterward. Like we said, we got a Ben Ryack show, we got a Ben Romick show, a Glen Alecky show, Glen Grant show.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff coming.
Ball Blair show. There's lots of different ones already lined up. So, no, I appreciate it, man. It's always fun to come every Tasty Tuesday, we'll say, and partake a little crazy dram here or two.
Indeed, man. Indeed. All right, man. I'm going to sign off, man. Everybody stay safe, be well. Much love to everybody. Thank you, guys. New review of mine of the new Torah Bag 2017 Legacy Series will drop Friday. If you're a Patreon, you'll get an email tomorrow. Much love to everybody. Telex, great to see you, sir. I will sign off. I'll catch you later.
See you later from me now. Ballbler have an 18-year sample. That'd be good. That's the new 18 I think you're talking about. I haven't had any of their new stuff. I'm a big fan of the old vintage labels like the 83. I had a 99 second release and first release. I had a '05, another O something. I can't remember if it was like an '02 or whatever. But I like the vintage series. I haven't had any of the new stuff yet, so I'm eager to try it. But I've heard iffy things. Hopefully, it's not too iffy. We'll see, how that goes. But I don't know. I'm eager to take a look at it. The old Pulteney kind of let me down, so I'm kind of like already got my guard up, and I'm like thinking, well, if the old Pulteney 18 is not really making me feel all that great, man, I hope the Ball Blair stuff does because I've heard mixed reactions. So I'm hoping that this works out. Well, Sanchava, everybody, I really appreciate you stopping by for Taste of Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out with the Highland Park Fire and Ice. And the fire, it's very intriguing. It's a complex, interesting whiskey. Not my wheelhouse. It sounded like Eric was kind of really not really into it as far as what we're looking for taste wise, but for appreciation, respect of what the whiskey is, it actually is there. 225 seems a bit aggressive. I would try to find that lower if you can. With the ice, it's you know a bit. I think a step above. You get 2 years more. You definitely get a lot more ABV. 53.9, same price, 225. I think that's definitely worth it. So if you do have a chance to get the ice edition, definitely I would say pull the trigger on that. I think I don't see how you could be disappointed because even if it's not your exactly in your wheelhouse, I think it's complex enough and fun enough to play around with, to make it worth your while and still have a good taste at the end of the whole day. So thanks a lot guys for hanging out and we'll see you next Tuesday hopefully, and Salam Shabbat.